Thanks for coming to the talk about inspiring community contributions. I'm Pepper Liebeck-Job. I'm on the core development team at Gradle. And this is going to be a bit of a different kind of talk than the others that you've been seeing or probably have been involved with at other conferences. I'm only going to talk just a very little bit up at the front, and then this really is going to be like a brainstorming session with those of you who have showed up here. I'm a little sensitive to the acoustics in the room, so it's possible that it might be more constructive if we were like physically closer together, since we do have the space in the room. So if maybe this side wouldn't mind like filling in the chairs over here, it'll just be easier for everybody to hear the discussion as we will be having kind of an open discussion. So I just want to start out with a huge thank you. I assume that you're in this room because you're either interested in contributing to the open source project or you have contributed to the open source project in the past, or that you are an active forum member and interested in how we can improve engagement on our sort of forum and community provided support channels like Stack Overflow and things like that. So thank you for being here and coming here to take the time to help us improve the processes that really make Gradle an awesome project to work on. And I want to, see how we can make it even more awesome in the future. So that's kind of the setup. I wanted to go ahead and kind of up front say how I'm going to break down the talk. I'm going to start out with just a quick summary of like contribution data and maybe like a little bit of discussion about the, a couple of contributions that happen to come to mind that we had since like November of last year. And then we're just really going to start turning into kind of a moderated brainstorming session. So I have three kind of big questions that I want us to ask. Mainly, I'm interested in the third one, but I think that the first two are going to give us good context to go into that third one. And also, to that point, I'm going to sort of provide a little bit of guidance, like some fodder for the brainstorming on the first two, and not much help at all on the third one, because I really don't want to bias the discussion. I want us to, work together and figure out, how are we going to make this happen. I do kind of want to bias the discussion on the first two because we've thought a lot about it, and I don't want us just to repeat a lot of the same things that we already have internally, but I do want you to add to the answers to the first two. So like, it'll be obvious when we get to those slides. Just to sort of like also set the kind of expectations for brainstorming, like we have small enough a group that I think we can do away with formalities, like don't worry about raising hands, just like have a discussion. What we'll be doing is Eric, who's right here, Eric, is going to be acting as a scribe, and I'm going to be presenting what he's writing down as well, so that as we go through and we're like getting all these good ideas, everyone can kind of see that they're captured, and we'll just move on through that process. I do want us to try to err on the side of really expansive thought in this process and not as deep dive. So let's not go into like great lengthy discussions about this one time that I had this experience and yada 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 yada. Like try to think of more like what's the high point, what's the overall concept that you want to get across as we're like talking about things, and let's just like keep the energy going throughout the brainstorm. And as a moderator, I'll try to help that happen as well. Okay, so here's what happened as far as the number of open pull requests per week since November of 2015. We basically, at this point, started recording data and saying, let's fix it, let's actually, Piotr's here, and he did a great job leading the effort of basically saying, we have way too many open pull requests, let's figure out how to like get the feedback to the community that we need, get those things pulled into the code base, and really like drove an internal process that was able to get us to a more manageable and reasonable level of week after week open pull requests. And we continue this effort and want to see that graph, keep coming down. But at the same time, we want to see this graph keep coming up, right? So new pull requests per week. We want to be able to handle more people contributing more contributions that are of high quality, that are just ready to like merge and go. We know that open source projects are often in the situation that the Gradle open source project is in, where the maintainers and the core developers have a lot of competing concerns, a lot of different things going on, and it can be difficult to address, especially with Gradle, because it has such a wide usage base and such like so many different use cases and features and things. It's kind of impossible for the team of like core maintainers to take responsibility for the entire development of the open source project. So we've really got to like have a healthy contribution from the community, and so we really want to see a lot more weeks like that week at the top. All right, so let's just get right into the brainstorming. For these next slides, rather than actually showing the slides, what I'm going to do is switch to the document. It worked. So the first question I want to ask is, why do we contribute? So think of, like, for yourself, why you would contribute to Gradle specifically. I mean, maybe open source projects in general, if it's relevant, and especially if it's contrasting to Gradle, like if there's something that really motivates you to contribute to some other open source project, and you don't see that same motivation for Gradle, really interested to find out about that. So these are some ones that we kind of know happen, but I also am really interested in what else. Like, I know we contribute because we want to see a change in Gradle. Like there's something we're trying to do that we can't do personally. Like I want Gradle to be able to do this thing that it can't do, so I'm going to just write the code to make it happen. That's a really common situation in which people contribute. My boss wants Gradle to work differently. Like, I work at an organization where we use Gradle a lot, and so as part of my work, I'm going to contribute to the open source project to make it do something that it didn't do before. Or just my organization is really invested in Gradle, and they're like, hey, generally go make Gradle better for the entire community, because if Gradle succeeds, then we're going to be able to keep using it year after year and not have to pay the cost of switching to some other build system that replaces it, right? So some people contribute because their organization is invested in it, even if they don't have like a particular feature in mind that they want to contribute. They might like just go look at the bugs and like see if they can clean some of it up to help. Some people contribute to open source projects because they're trying to develop their own coding skills, and just like it's a great opportunity to go out and do that. And then just generally you want to see Gradle succeed because you're a real fan of the best build system in the world. Why else? So this is the point where I just say, what have we missed on this list? Yeah. Professional development, yeah, networking. That's a really good point. Yeah. Are there other things missing from this list? Other motivators, or this is mainly the list? Yeah. Oh yeah. This is similar to that networking. Yeah, like I'm internet famous. Yeah. Oh man, need not to have this go to sleep, so I'll just keep wiggling the mouse. Great. What else is a motivator? And one of the things also that I'd like to sort of get a feel for is if you had to pick just like one thing that primarily represents why you're contributing, just like from a show of hands, like let's imagine these were numbered. Wait a minute, you don't have to imagine. Eric can make them numbered. Just show of hands, like think of out of this list, one through 6 or whatever, what your like main reason that you would contribute to Gradle is, and let's kind of like just as a show of hands, I'll say like whose reason is number 1? Okay, looks like about half maybe. Number 2? No one in here? Okay. Number 3? Number 4? Yeah, okay, there it is. So what was that one? We want to develop coding skills. Awesome. Number 5. We're just really excited about seeing Gradle succeed. So, sort of. Okay. Number 6, networking community. Okay. Great. Cool. And then, yeah, recognition. A large community knows who you are because you've contributed. Eric. Awesome. It's very awesome of you to come forward, Eric, and let us know. Yeah. Okay, so this is why we contribute. Let's scroll on down to the challenges we face when trying to contribute specifically to the Gradle open source project, but also in general, if you do want to contrast Gradle to something else. Here's what we know. Oh wait, you can't scroll. I have to scroll. Um, so we know that we've heard from contributors, man, that pull request process is difficult. Like I put a pull request in, and it's like you want tons of unit tests, integration tests, sometimes a design spec. I think you want me to like tie my shoes the right way, and then maybe the pull request can come in. We've we are aware of that challenge, and also one of the things that to the Gradlers in the room I would really encourage is like let's try, and I'm just gonna like address the Gradle elephant in the room. Don't as the discussion unfolds, try to defend like where we are right now. This is more about trying to get to where we want to be. So let's just think of like staying open to the kinds of suggestions and things that we're going to get out of this great session. Okay. Um, we don't have. Okay, so as a contributor, we don't have all the context that the maintainers have. Like, somebody who's been working on Gradle core for years. They're just going to know better how something should be implemented, so surely they should be doing it because they're just more familiar with the code. So that's, it's difficult for us to get that same kind of context. This may be something that's familiar to you, it may not. It's annoying to have to write tests. We already wrote perfect code. Design docs. And we theorize that some people don't know what would be the most useful thing for them to contribute. Like, especially the people that were in like category 4 from earlier, which is the we want to develop our coding skills. Like, we're just want to like practice. Like, give us something that's like what I call shovel ready. Like that I can just take my coding skills and apply them, and then Gradle will be better. But it's just like hard to figure out what would be the most useful thing to contribute to. I think this list is missing some stuff. What other challenges do we face? Just okay. Yep. Yeah, yeah. So like we have a pretty good user guide, but we don't have like a very good developer guide. Like, right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Right. Yep. Absolutely. This is good. This is good. What else? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And have to like totally change some other way. Yeah. Yeah. This is great. This what. Let me see if I can summarize and say it back, and you can tell me if I'm on the mark. Um, there's a lack of guidance when preparing to contribute. Not like once you've got a pull request, there's some interaction on the pull request that's pretty useful. But before the pull request, it's difficult to get the kind of guidance you need up front. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm actually aware. Like, hmm. And just technology-wise, what are they in the? This is kind of in the. Do you remember if it's like a Slack channel or video conference or? Cool. Yeah. Cool. I do think that seems like a really neat idea. Eric, if you, if I guess, yeah, yeah, okay. So this is kind of more the discussion of like how are we going to succeed in improving in the future, those kinds of things. But I'm really interested to hear, yeah, that's kind of like a contrasting, like what makes it difficult to contribute to Gradle? Well, I can't get that kind of help, right? It's hard to get mentorship in real time. Yeah. Um, yes. Mm-hmm. 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 So, yeah, okay. Let me again see if I can phrase it and tell me if I'm close. I think what you're saying here is that even when we say that something is ready for community contribution, it in fact isn't fully baked yet. Like we haven't done enough design work to figure out like yes, someone who's somewhat unfamiliar with all of the inner workings of Gradle can still pick this up because the APIs are defined well enough and documented well enough to be able to get up and get going. It's kind of similar to the missing architecture doc, but it's specifically when we say like, hey, we think someone in the community should be able to contribute this, it really needs to be ready to go. Yeah. Okay. How did that get recorded? Great. Um, yeah. What else makes it difficult to contribute to Gradle or um, if you want to even just add color to something else that's already up here, that might be a good use of our time. Kyle? Are you saying that who's providing the sample? Is it the contributor? Okay. Yeah, so maybe like once we have like a really well articulated bug report or issue to discuss, that can be the jumping off point for contributions. Um, awesome, and I see that that's kind of going down in another idea. So let's just or doesn't. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it may even be like a feature that the contributor wants to add, but just like, yeah, yeah. But yeah, but even that, like, uh, better guidance on like how to engage with the core developers. This is again addressing somewhat the like when preparing to perform a pull request. So let's just jump into like how to solve these problems if we don't have more varied and different issues that are coming up. Um, mhm. Can you tell me more about community advocate? Like, is this usually like one dedicated person, or
Usually it's a person, it's a role, they may delegate
or it might be like a rotation, but it's like at any time,
anytime here, this is the person who has the role in the core team of being the community outreach person.
hmm
Being the person who will answer your questions or get you to the right person if they're not the right person to ask the question. And there's nobody in the Gradle project who really is that single point of focus for the external community who's trying to contribute to that.
yeah, it's true. Go ahead. Huh. I feel like maybe that's not current, but yeah. But I think it does get to maybe a problem that we didn't explicitly call out in the challenges that we face, which is basically that there does seem to be a sort of a high degree of ceremony um, before we get started into the actual meat of the pull request. But I think what our current recommendation is like email Gradle Dev to discuss your proposed change. Like I think that's like our current language, which and that's like a mailing list, right? That's like a Google group. So you just like send an email, Gradle Dev, like Gradle.org or .com. I don't remember. Anyway, the Gradle Dev mailing list is like how we are currently asking for people. So yeah, just more clear like, and maybe shorter on ramp to getting started. Sounds good. Um, we haven't talked much about it, but I definitely consider part of what the community is doing is providing like community support, like in the forums, on Slack, or not Slack, Stack Overflow, um, those sort of channels. What are people's experience around that? Raise your hand if you've answered a question in the forums or on Stack Overflow. Great. There's a couple of non-Gradlers there. All right. So, how is that going? What if you've asked a question on the forum, or I'm gonna sleep again? Who's ever asked a question on the forum, right? Everybody does, right? Do you find that it's like good? You get responses in time, or not good? Could it be better? Not good? Tell me a story. Oh, not even we don't understand the question. Mm. Good. Yeah. Did you say in the post that you found your solution yourself, or okay? So no one's ever gonna answer that because it's like, yeah, he's satisfied. Okay. um. Yeah. So okay. Any ideas on making the process of community-based support any healthier, more helpful? Yeah. Let me actually ask this question. When you post, sorry, I will stand right here. When you post a question to the forum or Stack Overflow, what are your expectations about like when you think somebody's going to respond and who you think is going to respond? Do you show of hands? Do you expect someone on Google Core, like someone who works for Gradle, to be responding, or are you more likely to have someone from the community respond? So Gradle core, that's Kyle's expectation. And then everyone else thinks that someone from the community is probably going to respond more likely than someone on Gradle core. Stefan, yeah, Renee, a lot. Hmm. Yeah, so it's interesting that you said empowered. I also wonder if there's maybe just a motivation thing, right? Because I certainly, by the way, for everyone in this room, if you see a question you know the answer, you are fully empowered to go do it. No one is going to stop you from providing an answer. Like we would love it, that would be great. But maybe there's a motivation issue. That's kind of one of the things that I'd like to suggest. Any thoughts there? Like recognition or badges or I don't know, internet points? Okay. Let's go back to talking about pull requests. That seemed to be more exciting for this crowd. Um, do we have other ideas? Yep.
Before we go into that, there are some questions on forums that can only meaningfully be answered by Gradle staff. For
Hmm.
example, questions about plugin portal and like new features to that or so forth.
And sort of like also, I imagine like if there are questions about strategy or direction or priorities, things like that. Here's a question, something that I kind of thought would come up, but I feel like I'm going to kind of guide the conversation there for just a moment because it might be fruitful. Um, if if you wanted to know for the open source project, what are the next like top priority things that are going to happen? Like, what is Gradle most excited about adding in the short term to the open source project? Would you know where to go to like find that information? Gradle Summit. All right. So lay down some money, come to Gradle Summit, then you'll find out what we want to do. Do you miss it? Like, do you miss knowing that sort of roadmap or like where things are going? When you go to like contribute, do, do
How do I actually fit it in and say where it's declared and where it's picked up from, or discovery mechanism.
hmm
And there was something happening today with the active code where usually there's not just straight databases and other services that were kind of injected that you didn't know which ones were good or not. And then also the bad. There was very little new model work on. There's a lot of performance. Oh, they're just trying to make it faster. There's more performance work and not really.
and kind of, what I'm gathering from this is that there was little transparency into the C changes.
Little transparency,
Yeah.
but like there's like how do you run the plugin because like there's a bunch of weird hacks in the legacy system that's come up in the legacy that new model was supposed to do. There were things that were weird about new models, especially when trying to get source code that generated source code to the source code.
hmm
Like that one didn't get done right. And then there was formalization of where tools and other things, other services come from, PHP server,
hmm
all this stuff around the C++ code. That was really good. And you're like, well, where's the next thing going to be? How do I want to build things either in the new model and then have it stop?
Like a fizzle. Yeah.
So like I personally like, oh, what's going to happen and where do I contribute or am I going to the old model? And for a lot of people trying to explain like for trying to get more people to Gradle or explaining, well, you know, if you configure with this with type and you're going to get this explosion will work here and you have to, you know, that's not that accurate. Just do it like this will work. And they were very confused about why is it in the, you know, trying to discover an interact with a plugin is, well, you have to do it by class. If you do it by name
Hmm.
and the thing's not loaded, it's going to blow
Yeah. So it's yeah.
caveats that if you've been in Gradle long enough, you're willing to accept that other people spend other people.
Right. So I think what I'm hearing is that definitely if we had like a more visibility and a clearer roadmap and like what you can expect to happen into the future, it would be easier for you to make like business decisions about like how you're going to contribute or use develop plugins or things like that. Um,
So there's a breakdown steps if you're developing a simple plugin,
mhm.
but you want to develop a very meaty plugin and you start getting you have to evaluate other things you have to do. That's where it's not as fun. And you're kind of making excuses for it's going to get better, and then the solution notes will help make it get better. It's, it seems other people like it spiked,
Mm,
right? So it's hard to explain.
I got it. Yeah. So it would be very good to have that sort of clearer guidelines for like how to communicate with the people you collaborate with.
But it's sort of a question of my mind, how open is the design process itself? And I think we look at some other open source projects. Some of them go to the point of having all their design needs be physically publicly open.
Hmm.
So I can think some of the languages Microsoft's done a great job in this space, and some of their language designers now.
Hmm.
So if you take a look at their C sharp, it's not C sharp at all. Every design is known to be open source.
Wow.
That's a common strength. There are other projects that are completely closed. Where does Gradle want to fit on that spectrum in terms of visibility in sort of the design space and direction set?
So I hate to turn an obvious like direct question back around to another question, but where would you like to see it? Would you like to see it just all the way open? Like, would that help you as like a contributor to like feel like not only feel but be more included in the design process? Yeah, like.
From the standpoint of an external contributor,
Mhm.
the more open the process can be made so you can engage at whatever level you want to, the easier it becomes to participate. Otherwise, it's who do you know?
Uh,
And that works in a very small project, but Gradle
there
and
hasn't been that.
getting past the point
Yeah.
who do you know works all the time.
Absolutely. All right. No, so I think that's definitely one of the ideas that we should float as like a way to get where we're going is like consider opening more of the design process to. I mean, basically where we are right now is that a lot of design discussions happen internally, and then like we publish to the design docs directory under Gradle. Have you played around in there? Have you seen them? Yeah, but it's kind of like that's.
That tends to be more finished decisions
Yep.
as opposed to the discussion process. I know some of that discussion happens in that form.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but
It'd be nice to see more of it.
it'd be nice to, and back to the idea of sort of an office hour, it'd be nice to be able to have at least points in time when there's open discussion with the community.
Excellent.
You know, maybe not every time,
Mhm.
but sometimes.
And the other thing as far as the design docs, a lot of them are very good design docs, but you have no idea when users can scroll to them. Because a lot of ideas were right off the logical kind of package firmly.
Mhm.
You want to use it as an enterprise component. Distribute these plugins. There's a lot of great discussion about, oh, we're going to spend a certain amount in it, and then that was stuff that I was initially working on for the very long. I didn't have a model of when it was going to start, or
Yep.
if it started, or all the way through their priority shift.
Great feedback. Yeah. So I think one the takeaway here is I think something that we were echoing earlier, which is basically like a kind of a public facing development roadmap would be a helpful tool for like planning your contributions to Gradle and getting those open source contributors involved as well. Do people know where the Gradle blog is? Anybody read it or subscribe to it? No? Yes? Got one? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. Um, great. Other ideas, things you'd like to see us improve on? We've got about 8 minutes left. Oh, we aren't already there? I'm sorry. Oh, I just didn't scroll. I'm sorry. Ah, bad presenter. Yeah, so yeah, what we've got some ideas here. Samples drive question. Da, online office hours, specific guidance to prepare samples, collaborative design with community. Yeah, I really discussion, brainstorm. Let's go. All right. Okay. Or contributing, right? Like contributing a plugin or a pull request or whatever. Like,
So in terms of contributing back, let me put on two hats. I'm in transition right now. My previous role, I was program manager at Gradle.com, and pretty tight restrictions in terms of what can I contribute back to the project. Not that there wasn't a process, but it was rather cumbersome legally on my own side. And so in many cases, you know, trying to figure out ways to get the stuff back to Gradle was difficult. So the best I could do was hire a Gradle core contributor, describe my problems and tools.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think there are things that Gradle can do to make that easier in terms of working with corporate customers and contribution process, that kind of thing.
Like what?
Well, looking at the actual contribution in the legal documents that need to be signed as a contributor and seeing if there's, I was talking about that with the guys yesterday, and they decided at the end that the easiest way is to hire legal expense.
Hmm.
That you need to move forward and then they want to stay out of that space.
So is there something in the language of our contributor license agreement that just is a no-go from a legal perspective? Like,
There was, I can't remember what else.
I,
I'd have to look at it again.
if you would do a little bit of legwork on that and kind of bring it to the attention of Gradle Dev on the mailing list and just like, hey, this is one of the things we bump into trying to contribute to a project like this. That would be super helpful. Yeah. Right over here we do. Yeah. A workshop. Yeah. Uh huh. Cool. And was that like a online workshop or a physical space?
We're going to bring up that example that you mentioned again in our meeting later, but they have some really, really interesting stuff in the field for hackathons,
Mm-hmm.
where they really encourage people to come in and build stuff. They have most of their core dev team available, and they get 30, 40 people coming in to hack out over the course of the program, and they do a long week, 3 days, they grab some office space, and then they build their thing that they care about, this framework, in the context of, oh, I can go out and do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have high bandwidth available mentoring.
30 or 40 interesting hacks out of that that they can either use as demos or examples or start
Yeah, really cool ideas. Oh yeah, yeah. No danger of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say if it isn't like obvious to everyone, the Gradle dev team is globally distributed, so we're very aware that like there's a whole planet here full of developers who. I understand. Yeah, cool. Um, oh, it was like at the summit. It was like part of the. Oh.
Friday afternoon, I had to get back home to do some things I didn't actually stay for. Didn't all live there at the same
Mhm.
came out of it, felt like I've never heard anything more about it.
Mhm.
Either successful or not successful. Like I left Obi and this is Thursday night, and like on Wednesday,
Yeah, the actual hands-on stuff.
look early and do something
Right.
like I don't know if busy away from notifications or
Often. um, cool. That's an interesting idea of like kind of because we already have so many people together, maybe we could combine such a thing with the summit. Good suggestion. Yeah. Ah, Kyo, do you know of anything? I would say nothing. I would say we're not doing anything to kind of spawn user groups and well, yeah, I know that we've definitely got some people at Gradle are frequent attendees of like jugs and user groups like that. But I mean, it would be great to just have even people in the Gradle community going to these more language specific user groups and it's one of the other great kind of synergies or benefits about that is that you know that you're talking to your audience. Gradle being such a general purpose tool, it like just having people who are interested in Gradle in general might not be as like valuable as actually going to a language group. That's a really interesting suggestion. But also, yeah, there is the case for people who are yeah just passionate about the tool as like an automation platform, and user groups a good idea as well. We're out of time. I think this has been a really valuable discussion. I'm really thankful for everyone who participated. And yeah, exactly. We're here for the whole summit. Let's keep having the discussion and let's keep contributing to this awesome project. Thanks a lot, everyone.